Okay. Hi, all. So I'm Dr. Tan. So we will going to move to our lab 5. So we will going to focus on the Ethernet switching and going to explain how we going to configure on the VLANs for different scenario. So before we going to proceed into our lab 5's documentations there, so we will going to try each of the scenario, especially how we going to refer back to your lecture slide. We were going to try for each how actually you're going to configure using the MAC address. Okay, how you're going to configure using the interface address and get familiar yourself with the access interface, how you're going to configure trunk interface and also the hybrid before we move to a more complex lab exercise there. So for the first ones, okay, again, the same things, open your ENSP. Okay, so after you open, so the first exercise we were going to do, okay, refer back to your lecture slides. Okay, we were going to do is using a interface VLAN. So we were going to base on this topology. Okay, we're going to create a two VLAN and we assign the PC1, PC2. They are under the VLAN 10s and also 2 and 4. They can be communicated under a VLAN 20. Okay, so remember we also we're going to assign the two types of the interface, access and also the trunk interface. So without wasting the time, just going to open your ENSP and then going to create the new topology there. Okay, so the first step, what you need to do, okay, just going to same things, but today we're not going to touch the router. We will move to your switch. So you can go into select your switch, okay, series S 3700 lah. Okay, and or you want to using a core switch is not appropriate. Normally it's a access switch. Okay, so you just going to drop it. Okay, then going to select your PC, drop a 4 PC there. Okay, so now you will going to build your cabling. Okay, so because on the series of the switch of the this one, okay, we call it S3700. You just have two GE port only. So we were using a Ethernet port to connect to your PC. So just going to select your Ethernet 001, connect to the PC1, and then 002, connect to the PC2. Okay, then you will going to do the same thing for your switch 2. So 001 connect to PC3, then 002 connects to your PC4. Okay, you can go into random selects lah. Just make sure every time you do the configurations, you refer back to the interface that you have using on it. Okay, so we can go into make nicely, but before you have to build another one G using the GE to connect to your switch there. Okay, the same things before we do the labeling. Don't wasting the time, just going to kickstart to run your switch there. Okay, so now you can go into trying to do your labeling nicely. Okay, so the first one we were going to define using your switch. Okay, we name it as your switch 1. Okay, you can go into rename as your normal metric and also your switch 1. Okay, and then you can go into put your normal metric, your switch 1, switch 2, sorry. Okay, so this one now, later on, we will just assign the IP address to the PC and then we try to do the ping to verify whether it's working or not. But on today, we basically focus on layer 2. Okay, layer 2 Ethernet switching. Okay, so how you going to do switching? So what you're going to do, the first step always you want to assign the VLAN. Okay, step 1, You want to assign the VLAN, you should go into create the VLAN. Okay. Then also you will go into assign the link text to configure your interface tag. Or we call it as your port. Okay. Link types. Okay. Whether which of the interface they are belong to. Okay. The link types. Then you will go into add. Okay. All of this assigns the PVID. Okay. Then you will go into assign them to your VLANs lah. Okay. Okay, so remember on this exercise, what we are going to do is we are trying to practice on the interface base VLAN so that you not confusing. Okay, later we were going to try another is a MAC address. Okay, so on here, basically what you were going to do, we were going to assign, maybe we do some labeling. Okay, here we were going to assign is a VLAN 10. The same things for your PC 3. Here you assign is under the VLAN 20. Okay, so after you already do the labeling, you can change the color of your labeling lah if you want. You can just change the color of the background. Let's say here you want to make it as a yellow color. You can go in to change it. Just right click, change the background, yellow. Okay, so on this exercise, we will going to match. Okay, let me going to do the labeling for you. Access interface on here. Okay, we were going to set the access interface. Then on here, we were going to using a PVID. Okay, you need to assign the PVID is a 10. So on here, you were going to set your PVID is a 20. So maybe we change the background color. Then after that, we will going to make here as a trunk interface. Okay, trunk port. Or you just type a trunk. Okay, then we will go into using the PVID is 1. Okay, the same things on this interface G001 on here, we will going to make it as a trunk port and PVID also is a 1. We're using assign them to be a default. Okay, so on here, maybe I will go into copy. Okay, this is all the topology that we were going to do the configurations, okay, interface-based VLAN. Okay, so let's start do the configurations. Okay, the first step, you're going to on your command line here. Okay, make sure you're going to move to your switch 1. So the first thing we were going to do always is the same. So you are going to dename your devices. So just going to enter a system view, 6 name. Okay, rename it as your normal metric. Okay, example 2 and then you're going to name it as your switch 1, SW1, stand for switch 1. So the same things you go for your switch 2. enter your system view. So you name it as your BI23. So switch 2. Okay, now you go back to your switch 1 again. Okay, we were trying to doing on these parts of the configurations. That means we were going to make it, okay, for the E00 as a access interface. But before that, to ease the configurations, okay, we were going to create the VLAN so that when we're going to assign the interface, we can direct assign them, okay, to the PVID 10s. Okay, make sure before you going to assign the PVID, you have to create the VLAN first. Okay, how you going to create the VLAN? So you just going to type the VLAN 10s. When you type the VLAN 10s, that means you actually will create the VLAN and also access to the VLAN's view. Okay, VLAN 10 view. So you can go into quit and then you can go into make it as a VLAN 20. So you're going to quit. Okay, so now you already create a two VLAN 10 and 20. VLAN 1 you no need to create because it's by default. They already have a VLAN 1. So the same things you move to the switch 2. Okay, so you going to create the VLAN. So always you no need to create one by one. You just going to using a VLAN batch 10 and 20 to create both lah. If you have a 10 to 40, so they were going to create 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, you just going to enter on it. Okay, so after you already create it, so now you move back to your switch 1. So we will going to assign your E001, okay, E001 here as a access interface, and then we assign the PBID is a 10. So the first thing you have to access into your default interface E001. Make sure you are under the switch 1, switch 1. So E001. So after that, how you're going to assign a access interface? You just going to using the command port link types. Here you tell them I want to set up is a access. Okay, so after that, I go into using a PVID. So for the access port, is different from the hybrid and trunk. You have to using a port defaults. Okay, so VLAN. Okay, so which of the PVID that you need to assign is a 10. So you are going to assign 10 on here. Okay, so the same things you were going to quit. Okay, so now I'm still under the switch 1, but you were going to configure on the Ethernet 002. So the same things you're going to enter interface E002. Okay, then you go into assign a port link types. Okay, you make it as a access. So the same things, the port default VLAN. So you can just enter and then you put the up arrow up. Okay, so to access port link type access, not access already, port defaults VLAN. So it's 20. Okay, so this one you were going to set it as a port default PVID is a 20. Okay. Or another way lah, basically you also can doing is you go to the VLAN 20, then you add your port into a VLAN 20 like your slide. You also can doing like that. Okay. So now you were going to leave your GE002. Okay, you were going to move to do the configurations on GE001 as a trunk port. So enters the interface G001. Okay, so the same things, port link types. You are going to set it as a trunk port. Okay, so on here, how we going to set the PVID? So you have to tell them, okay, for the port trunk, okay, my PVID VLAN is 1. My PVID is a VLAN 1. Okay, so remember on here, because we want to allow, we will going to forward the data kan. So I forgot to do the labeling. So basically, you will allow the VLANs 10s and 20 to go through the communications for your switch 1 and also the switch 2. So basically, you need to using allow pass add them to a permitted list. So how you going to add them to be the permitted list? You have to using a port trunk allowed pass VLAN. So it's a 10 and 20. Port trunk allowed pass VLAN 10 and 20. Enter again. Okay, so you can go into quit the interface. So how I going to check whether my configurations is correctly or not? Okay, so you can go into enters display VLAN. So they will going to tell you lah what actually is VLANs that you have set it. Just now we already create a 10 and 20. By default, we have a VLAN 1. So all the interface they will going to assign to be a VLAN 1. So on here you have a VLAN 10. So VLAN 10 you are assigned the interface is your here G001 and also your G001 here. One is E on this interface and here GE. Okay, so you were going to add it, but the GE is a tag VLAN. That means they were going to text as a VLAN 10 when they're going to forward your VLAN tag. So that's why here you put it as a tag. UT is an untagged frame because you receive from your this port interface is connected to your host. So when you're going to receive is a access interface, so it should be a untagged. So that means it's a access interface correctly. So you check on the 20, VLAN 20. So my VLAN 20, I have a E002. Okay, E002, correct? So it's an untagged frame. And also I have a tag frames from a G001 because I allowed them to pass. So I will add the flags whenever I going to receive the untagged frame. I will going to add the flag. It's a 20 allowed to pass. Okay, so you are going to see which of the VLAN ID that you have and their status there. Okay, now you only do the first part. So remember, you also have to do it under your switch to do the same configurations there. Okay, so the same things just now you move to the VLANs. Okay, if you're not sure whether you have created the VLAN or not, you can just display a VLAN. Okay, we already created so 1 and 20, but we still did not assign the port to our VLAN. Okay, so how you going to do it? Okay, you can just go into enter the same thing. The first one we were going to do is our maybe I move here a little bit. Then this one I move here. Okay, so the first one we were going to enter is a interface E001. Okay, port link types. Okay, we make it as a access. So this one, after you access, then you remember to add on the default. Port default VLAN 10. Okay, so after you're going to add it, you create it. The same things we were going to move is a E002. So interface E002. So after that, you're going to determine the port link types. Okay, you were going to make it as a access also. Okay, but now you were going to set it as a port default VLAN 20. Okay, or you can follow another way lah. Okay, if let's say you don't want to enter using a port default VLAN, so actually there is another way how you going to assign the PVID. What you need to do, normally actually we were going to do directly on here. We're just going to define port default VLAN. Then we assign the PVID is a 20. But in case you don't want, so you basically can do it another way. You're just going to quit. Then you enter the VLAN. Okay, 20. Because now I want to assign. After you enter a VLAN NT, you're going to add the port. Okay, E002. This also is another way lah. Okay, how you going to do the VLAN. Port default PVID for the access interface. Okay, but most of the time we just do the configurations, enable the access, and then direct we using a port default VLAN. So it's up to you which one you more preferable. Okay, so after that, we already done for our E002. We will move to our GE001. So enter interface G001. So port link types again, set it to be a trunk port. Okay, so the trunk port is very straightforward. How you going to how you going to do the configurations on here. So you just going to do is a port trunk, your PVID VLAN. Okay, remember is 1. We said it is a VLAN 1. Okay, so don't forget, always you need to allow port trunk, allow pass VLAN 10 and 20. Okay, so you can go into quit, then you go into display your VLAN. Okay, so you are going to see on here, basically your GE, it should be a tap frames lah, same like your switch one. Okay, you untap frame basically is your access port here under your VLAN. Okay, so you already done your configurations. This is a one way how you going to do the configurations. To checking your configuration, you just going to display the VLANs. Okay, but of course, if let's say in a real world, you basically, example, I can assign a PC1. Example here, I going to assign is a IP address 192.168.1. PC1 I assign 1.1. So I using a subnet mask /24. So the same things is example I going to assign on here 192.168 at 1.1.2/24. Then here, example, I going to assign into, because remember on the class scan, we say you can go into assign based on the, based on your subnet mask, right? Okay. So you can go into open your settings for your PC. Then you go into assign the IP address 192.168.1.1. Okay, so here you can go into make it as a 255. Okay, so you're going to set is a apply. Okay, the same things you are going to do under your PC3 because we want to see whether we are able to reach up or not. So you can go into make 192.168.1.3. Okay, under the same networks 1.2. Sorry, 1. I set it as a 1.2. So here subnet mask is a 255, 255, 255. So apply. Okay, so now we want to check whether the PC1 able to reach up the PC3 because now we already do the configuration. But before that, maybe I can go into setup also on here. So this one I set it is a 192.168.2.2. Okay. So that later on you can try to ping. So actually you cannot go into reachable lah to verify. Okay, so on here open the PC1. Okay, you can try to capture the data. Okay, for your Ethernet E001. Okay, to open your Wireshark on here, you are going to see what happening now. This one basically Wireshark is for you to capture your data because now we are under the layer 2. Actually, when you're going to open your router there, you also can go into on it to verify. Huh? Okay, then you're going to right click your PC again. So settings, you can go to your command. So you can try to ping. Okay, example, now I want to ensure if you're doing the correctly, you should able to communicate with the PC3 because you are under the same VLAN. So you are going to print the 192.168.1.2. Okay, you're going to print it. You should able to get the result because you already do the setup. Okay, even though you are participants, but because you are assigned them with a same VLAN, so they are actually able to communicate. I forgot. Okay, when you going to ping, maybe I ping one more times, you basically can notice the Wireshark going to capture because ping is under the protocol ICMP, right? So you were going to see the protocol types that you're going to trigger is on here. So when you're going to ping 1.2, actually you are going to sending is a encode request. So you are going to get the reply from the 1.1 there. Okay, to send back to you lah. That means they send the reply. Okay, you can go into drop now your Ethernet frames. Okay, you actually can see lah what actually the data there. Okay, and then also you can go in to see the Ethernet to frames on here. Where is it your destinations to reach up? Okay, so this one is how you're going to apply if you want to check in the real world how actually you do the configurations correctly or not. But in case if let's say I trying to ping on the difference, I want to check whether I able to communicate with the VLAN 20 or not. So I will try to ping, okay, 192.1 ping 192.168.2.2. So you trying to pin, so it should be unreachable lah, because you cannot go into read it. It's when you're going to see your firewall. So basically on here you are going to see this one is the first one 2.2 mana pergi my 2.2. Maybe we can just run one more times. So you see on here, nothing's actually you can go into send out your flame. Okay, you cannot. Okay, except on here lah, they were going to send on its ARP. You send the ARP because now they cannot go into communicate. So what happened? They were going to ask the internet who actually going to holding the 2.2 ping on there lah. Okay, this one is for the first one. It's not the for the second 2.2. It's for the 1.2 there. Okay, so they were going to send the ARP request to you with the destinations there. Okay, so another one, if let's say what happened if I do one, I make sure this one is under the same subnet. I change the IP address to 1.3. So whether they are same subnet, okay, but they are belong to a different VLAN. So whether they are able to communicate or not, you can try to test it. So here I change to 1.3. Okay, example, I change to 1.3. So if let's say I trying to do the ping on here, PC1, so I going to ping 192.168 should be not able to reach up lah. Unreachable. Because you actually, even though they are under the same subnet, but basically you are put it belong a different VLAN, so they should not able to communicate. So that's why it's unreachable. Okay, so this is how you can go into trace lah. They going to reach out only the 1.1. They will go into the number unreachable. Okay, this is how you go into troubleshoot. If let's say you want to test whether your VLAN is working properly or not. Okay, so we will go into continue on our second exercise. So remember to save your topology. So you can go into name it as a lab 05 A, practice A. Okay, you're going to save your topology there. Okay, make sure you're going to save your command also lah, so that you don't losing your configuration. So make sure you quit, save. Okay, the same things you go into enter, save. Okay, close it and then you're going to save your file. Okay, on the second example, we will try to explore the same things we were going to using in the interface based VLANs, which is very used in the industry. And also we have the scenario example for the industry, always they will have their data they keep into the server or the services they want to provide to a different department. So here we will going to using is a hybrid interface. Instead we're using a access or the trunks interface compared to a previous exercise there. Okay, so on here we were going to configure all the port types, okay, as a hybrid interface, hybrid port. And also we allowed them, okay, to access the server, which we are going to assign the server will be located under the VLAN 108. Okay, but the same thing is here. Okay, we allowed them from the different departments to access the server, but we disallowed them to directly communicate VLAN and the VLAN 20 lah. They cannot go into direct communicate. Okay, so let's try on this example. The same things go to build out your topology. Make sure you're going to save the lab 05. Okay, the first thing you are going to drop again. So it's a access switch. Okay, so this one basically we using as a core switch or aggregated switch there. Okay, so you have two switches. So you need a two PC. Then after that, you need a one server. So make sure you allowed the Windows firewall is stay blocking, so you allowed them to run it because the server is the first time we use it, right? Okay, so after that, you can go into link your cables, okay, as a Ethernet. The same thing on here because we don't have the enough of the GE gigabit, so you using is a Ethernet. Connect to your PC1, okay, as also the Ethernet 01, and then you also connect Ethernet 2 to PC2. Okay, then on here, you can go into match the GE 001 connects to GE 001. Then you can make this one GE 002 connect to your server Ethernet. So you can go into adjust nicely your configurations. Then you're going to select all to kickstart. Okay, so you can go into organize nicely for your this one allowed. So the name this one, okay, you were going to put it as a BI23XX. So this one you make it as a SW1. So on here you are going to make it as a SW2. Okay, so remember under this exercise, we were going to make R as a hybrid port. Okay, so we're going just to put it as a hybrid. Okay, then you going to assign, okay, what actually is their PVID. So on here, we will going to make as a VLAN 10. Okay, so the PVID for the Ethernet one here, I'm going to set it as a PVID 10. So same from here, okay, I will going to make it as a VLAN 20. Okay, maybe I change the background color to be a yellow. So here I will going to make the PVID is a 20. Okay, so on here, okay, we basically we just use the PVID is a 1. Maybe I can put on here. So on here also I make it as a PVID is a 1. So for here I will going to match, okay, because my server on here it will be a VLAN 100. So on here I will going to make it as a VLAN 100. PVID 100, sorry, PV ID 100. So maybe you can go into change to another, you can other any color lah, you like it. Okay, you can go into select the blue color, conform color. Okay, now try to move to your command. Okay, the first steps are the same things, okay? So maybe we do some labeling on here. So here is also is a interface based VLAN, but you learn how to explore on the hybrids interface scenario. Okay, so the topology, the setup configuration step, the same thing. The step one, you need to create the VLAN. You need to assign all the VLANs. Create your VLAN. Okay, the step two, you need to configure your port type. Okay, interface types. Then after that, you have to specify your which one you want to specify your tap and untap. Because remember for the hybrid, we have a tap and untap frame. So you need to do the command on it lah. Which one you want to tap, which one you want to untap on it. Okay. So now we're going to try on our configurations. Okay, you move to the switch one. So enter a system view, 6 name it as your Momo metric. Then you're going to put it as your at switch one. Okay, then you can direct going to create the VLAN. So here I am using a 3 type. Actually got 4 types lah, but VLAN one you no need to create it. So you have a 10, 20 and also the 100 on here. So you are going to create again. Okay, you just type VLAN batch 10s, 20, 100s. Okay, the same things you are going to do under your switch 2. Okay, you can go into enter the system, 6 name. Okay, name as your normal matrix, then you define as your switch 2. Sorry, I typo, missing S. Okay, then after that, you are going to create the VLAN batch also. So it's a 10, 20, 100. Okay, now we will going to do the configurations one by one. The first one, we will going to move into your switch 1. Okay, we going to settle on your first part G001 on or your here is a Ethernet E001. So enter E001. Okay, the first thing you are going to tell them what actually is a link types that you want to assign is a hybrid. Okay, here we using is a hybrid, so you need to put it as a hybrid. Okay, the same things you were going to define the PVID. So your port here now is a not trunk kan. Normally is for the trunk, you will port trunk PVID VLAN. So here you have to define the port type is a hybrid. So you set the PVID is a VLAN. We want to make it PVID 10. So you set as a VLAN 10. Okay, so on here, in order for your port to go through, okay, so you need to tell them, okay, you have to untap a VLAN 10 and also you want to let them to communicate with your 100. So also you have to remove the 100 step there. So you have to go in to tell them what actually the text that you want to untap. Okay, for the hybrids. Okay, because here is basically is going to connect to your end host. So basically you will going to untap the frame whenever you receive, but you will only to untap a 10 and also because you allowed want to communicate with the VLAN's 100 the server. So you were going to untap port hybrids. So you're going to type untap which of the VLANs that you want to untap 10 and 100s. Okay, so you quit it. Okay, you enter the interface E. E002. Okay, the same things, you go into port link type. So you make it as a hybrid. Okay, then you will go into ports, set the PVID is a 20. So port hybrid, you want to set the PVID, VLAN 20. And then you will going to do the same, you need to untap, do the untap. Ports, hybrids, untap. Okay, so you have a VLAN 10, this one you is under here. So you should untap a 20 and 100. Okay, the same things now you were going to do is a G001 on here. So you were going to make it as a hybrid. But on here, because you are not connecting to your end device, you are connecting to the another switches on that. So actually they are a trunk port. So you have to not untap, you have to tap the fan in order to allow the frames that you untap on from that you receive from the VLAN 10, it will going to tap the VLAN 10 frame that you receive from the 20, it will going to tap the VLAN 20, and also that you receive from the PVID 100, VLAN 100, it will going to add the text there. So you need to do is a port, okay, hybrids, okay, what text that you want to take it. Sorry, this one I should go into enters. Sorry, I have to quit the interface. Make sure I enter G001. Enter G001. So after that, I will going to make as a port link type SAM. I will going to make it as a hybrid. But on here, you will go into port hybrids. You were going to untap the frame. You were going to tap the frame, sorry. You were going to tap the frame's VLAN for 10s, 20, and 100s. So they will, all the flames, they will going to passing there. Okay, now you're doing the same things. Okay, you can go into quit. Okay, you can go into display your VLANs to check your configurations whether it's correctly or not. Okay, so VLAN 10s, you have a E001, okay, which is untapped, and also you have a G001, which you need to take it, okay, add on the tag. The same thing under the 20, VLAN 20, so you have your E002, and also you have your E001 as a tag flame. Okay, then you move to your 100s on here. Here you are going to untag, okay, both 1 and 2 untag, but you add on the tag is your GE001. Okay, so now you can go into move to your switch 2. Okay, but your switch 2, because you only got one 2 interface, okay, connects to the server. So now the first thing, just now we already create the VLAN. Okay, if you're not sure whether you create, you can go into display VLAN. So here you already create a 3 VLAN, but you still not add the ports to the VLAN. So now we will going to add our first port. Okay, is your server on here. So you are going to enter G002. Okay, under your G002, the same things you are going to make it port link types. You want to make it as a hybrid port. Okay, hybrids. So on here, because you connected to the server, it's an end device, right? So you should going to do is a untap. Okay, so you want to allow a VLAN 10, 20 can be communicate with 100. So you need to tell them your port link type hybrid, you want to untap your VLAN 10, 20, and 100. Okay, 10, 20, and 100. Okay, so after you do it, so now we will going to do on your G001, make it as a hybrid, but at the same time, you have to tag the frame, just like your switch one. So ports, you have to quit it, move to your interface, okay, G001. Port link types. hybrids. Okay, then port hybrids. So remember, it's a tag, not untag. Untag is you connected to the end device. So you are going to text your VLAN 10s, 20, and 100s. Okay, then you can go into display VLAN to check your configurations on here. So basically on here, you will going to have your VLAN 10s, okay, tag and untag. Okay, 20 also is a tag and untag. Okay, and then you have your 100s on here. Okay, for your GE002. Okay, so here you are connected to the end device, so you should be untagged. And also the G001, you should go into add the tag on here lah. Okay, so this one is quite very easy, right? How you going to define your MAC address using the interface. So remember, every time you're going to do, okay, make sure you're going to returns, okay, to your interface, system view, and then you're going to save your configurations. Okay, the same things from here. You are going to save your configuration. Yes. Okay, then after that, save your topology. Save it as a LED05, B. Okay, the last one we were going to do is your how you're going to assign based on the MAC address. That means we're going to improve the security, and also if let's say you need a mobility on that one. Okay, so we were going to follow this topology. Okay, VLANs, we assign all the PC123 as a VLAN 10. Okay, so you're going to tie it into a one switch on that. Okay, so you can go into opens your switch, ENSP, sorry. Okay, create a new topo. Okay, then you go into base on this one, you're going to drops is your switch. Okay, you just need to drop a 3PC. Okay, then after that, you're going to put the 9. Okay, on here you can using a E. Okay, so on here, we will going to ensure that the PC1, PC2, and PC3, you actually are going to belong to the same department. So that's why we were going to assign them to a VLAN 10s. Okay, in order to create the topology, let me go into a nicely. Okay, so this one, you're going to name it as your BI 23XS switch. Okay, so you have a PC1, 2, and also the 3. So the configurations, what we want to do on here, you are going to do the MAC base. Okay, MAC address base VLAN. Okay, so again, always the first step you want to do the VLAN, you should go into create your VLAN. And then because now you are under, you going to create is a MAC address, so you have to ensure that you going to associate, okay, or add your MAC address into your VLAN or associate with the VLAN. Then after that, you were going to do like the normally you're going to define the types of the interface, okay, into a VLAN. So we were going to decide the configure the port types. Okay, and then you're going to determine the which one actually you want to tag or untag, like just now. So on this exercise, we were going to make 10 as a hybrid also. We're using a default one, okay, common using. So we were going to make these three interface, okay, as a hybrid. Okay, then we will going to enable the MAC address on that part lah. Okay, so now we're going to start the configuration. So the first thing what you need to do, always going to open your switch 1. You only have one switch, so you're going to name 6 name. So the same thing using your normal metric to differentiate it with your friends, and then you're going to put it as a switch 1. I forgot to type S. Okay, so after that, you already create it. Okay, make sure you're going to create only one VLAN unit. Okay, you only need a VLAN 10. Okay, so now what you need to do under the VLAN 10, okay, the second step, you need to associate your MAC address with a VLAN. So you can go into open your PC settings. So you looking on the MAC address on here, copy the PC one. Okay, you can go into put on here lah if you want. Okay, so you were going to set up your MAC address for your PC one. So stay under the VLAN 10. So you were using a MAC VLAN. Okay, so you were going to tell what actually is the MAC address. You're going to put it. Sorry, I need to put like this. Okay, so now is the PC one, you already added. You do the same things. You go to settings, you copy out your PC2 MAC address. Okay, so you're going to put it. So the same things, you are going to put the MAC VLANs. Okay, so you add on the MAC address. Okay, the same things you're going to add on for your PC3. Do the same things. MAC VLANs, MAC address. Enter. Okay, so now you already assign a 3 PC MAC address. Okay, you buy it into your VLAN 10. Okay, the next step, you will going to quit your VLAN tabs. So now we will going to do is to configure your port link types. So you have a 3 interface G01, G02, and sorry, E01, E02, and E03 there. So you were going to make them as the hybrids. Okay, as a hybrid one. So how you going to enter? First one, you have to enter a E001. Okay, after you enter a G001, you're going to put the port link types. Okay, then you're going to put is a hybrid. Okay, the same things. Then because here you are connected, you behave as a access. So you have to ensure that you go into untag. Okay, untag a VLAN 10. So here you will go into port hybrids. So untag VLAN 10. Okay, so the same things you quit, you go to the E002. E002. And then you're going to define your port link type. Okay, as a hybrid. Okay, port hybrid. So you're going to make it as a untag your VLAN 10. Quit. Same you're doing for the E003. E003. So you go into port link types, make it as a hybrid. So after you make it as a hybrid, you determine the ports hybrids. So now the same things are you connect to the end devices PC on here. So that means you have to untag VLAN 10. Okay, I forgot. Now actually you need to also enable the Mac VLAN when you go into doing the things there. Okay. So here you can go into Mac VLAN, enable it. Now you already do it, you just going to enable it. So go to your just now I forgot to enable all 002. So interface E002. So Mac VLAN and also going to enable. So I going to create interface E001. So I going to enable the Mac VLAN. Then I going to quit it. Okay, so now you already done the configurations. So you can go in trying to go into your switch one. Then you can try to display your VLAN to check your configuration. So you should able to see that you have a VLAN 10. So you have a untapped VLAN on here. Okay, but because here you cannot go into see the tag plan because we did not go into create it. You also can create into another enterprise network. Okay, you can put it as a cloud. I think cloud you cannot go into do it, but let us try. Okay, then you're going to connect to your cable. Yeah, you have to example you go through, you connect to another devices or another router on here. Okay, you can try to connect. You can go into start on this one. Okay, then you go into do the configurations on the G001 to enable the untag lah. If let's say you just assumes that you're going to connect to outside. So on here, you are going to make it as a hybrid. Okay, for your G001, the same things are you go to your switch. Okay, router one, you go to your switch one. So you're going to enter your interface G001. Okay, and then you are going to make it as your hybrid port link types. You're going to make it as a hybrid. Okay, then you will after the hybrids, you are going to port hybrid. So because here you are connected to the router or you are connected to another switch, so make sure you are going to set up is a tag. So tag VLAN 10. Then you're going to quit your switch. Okay, then you're going to display your VLAN lah. So you will get the tag for the G001 just like your slide one. And also you can go into view. Okay, under your switch 1, you can apply the display MAC VLAN. Okay, MAC VLAN, and then you want to see all the MAC address. Okay, so you are going to see all of this one. Actually, they have enabled to put it under the VLAN 10. Okay, so you have totals of the 3 VLAN based on the MAC address. So remember, before you're going to leave it, you're going to save all your configurations there, and then going to save your topology also. Okay, the same things you were going to create a new topology. So we were going to follow this lab topology to create on it. Okay, so the first thing you need to go into drop your switch. So we're going to match the switch. Okay, on your switch 1 and switch 2, we're using the S500. Okay, you just make it a switch 1 and switch 2. Then you are going to drop your router AR10 220. Then you're going to drop another one. Okay, it will be under here. Okay, so after maybe I can draw smaller so that later on easier for me to show you the coding. Okay, so after that you were going to drop another switch, but on here we were going to using the S3700. Okay, so remember do the cabling. So on here switch 1 we were going to connect G001 using a G001 on here. So the same thing on here we were going to using a G002 connect to a G00 where is it 1 on here. Then on here we were going to connect using a G001 connect to a G001. We make it the same, and then here G002 connected to a G001. So here you can go into connect G003 to G003. So without wasting the time, the same things you can go into start all your devices together. Okay, so this one we will going to do the labeling nicely. Okay, while waiting your switch and router to be start successfully. Okay, so on here the same things you are going to name it as a BI, your normal metric, to 2G, to 3G, to 4G, to 5G is up to you. Then you put your normal metric and name it as your switch 1. Okay, so same thing from this one, we will going to using your, so make it as a S2, switch 2. Okay, so after that, we will going to name your router here as a router 1. Here, follow your book. They name it as a router 3. So we just follow it. We name it as a router 3. Okay, after you name it, we also have your switch 3. So here you can name it as a BI23 S3. Then this one you can go into name it as a BI, your normal metric, S4. So please don't follow me, put SX, it should be your normal metric. Okay, so to ease our configurations, okay, if you are the beginners, always you can go into put some remark on that part so that when you're doing the configurations, you are not getting confusing. So the first thing is we will go into make the VLAN. So you can go into draw some circle. Example on here, you are going to make it as a VLAN 2. Okay, so on here you are going to make it as a VLAN. I forgot to change the color. Okay, maybe I make it as a purple color. Okay, then on here you can go in to make it as another one. Okay, you change it maybe to be a yellow. It's up to you what color you like to use it. Okay, only for you to do some decorations lah. Okay, so on here we were going to make them as a VLAN 2. Okay, on here you are going to make it as a VLAN 3. Okay, so on the router 3 is belong to VLAN 10. So always the same things, as long as you are the switches you have the interface that you going to connect to your end devices, so you were going to make them as a access, okay, port, and then you were going to using the PVID, follow back your VLAN ID is 2. So because here you connect to a VLAN 2. Okay, same thing on here, you were going to connect to the access, so you make it as a PVID 3. Okay, same on here, you were going to make it as a access also, PVID is a 3. I put on here. Okay, then on here you were going to make it as a hybrid. We tried this one, we make it because it's connected, we consider it's another. So we're going to make it as a hybrid. Okay, so on here, they mentions you need to assign the IP address on your router. So we can make it this one as a 10.1.2.1/24. Okay, then we were going to make, okay, 10.1.10.1/24. So on here, you also need to assign the IP address to your switch. Okay, on here, you can depends if you are using a switch, they are able to support the layer 3, then you can go into assign the IP address part lah. If cannot, then you have to using another method. Then we were going to try to using a VLAN to assign the IP address, also can do. Okay, so we just remark first. So on here, we will going to assign the IP address is a 10.1.3.1/24. Okay, so on here, we were going to make as a 10.1.3.2/24. Okay. So the first step always, okay, you were going to do the configurations. If you got the IP address, you were going to do all the IP address on your router, on your switch. Then you were going to create your VLAN and then determine your port types. Okay, and then you're going to check whether you are allowed to pass port types and also the tag, if they are hybrid or untagged, or they are the trump parts, then you have to do the allowed to pass lah. Okay, then after that you will going to do the verifications whether you are doing is correctly or not. Okay, so based on this topology, basically we want to ensure that even those, okay, this switch 3 and switch 4, they are connected to a switch 1 and switch 2, but they still able to communicate with each others, okay, because they are under the same VLAN 3. But we want to ensure that your router 1 can communicate with the VLAN 3 devices and also the VLAN 10 devices. The same thing, the VLAN 10 devices, you cannot communicate to a VLAN 3 devices and also the VLAN 2. Okay, so after that, you always, just now I forgot, you have to do this one as a trump port. Okay, and then this one as a trump port also. Just now I forgot to do the labeling. Okay, so it's just for the beginner. If you just starting to learn, so it's better for you to do all the labeling so that when you move to the configurations, you know what you should do. Instead, you're just going to follow the lab configuration step by step, but you already understand what actually you should do for this topology to enable those are within the same VLAN, they are able to communicate. Okay, so without wasting the time, you just going to open all your one. Okay, router 1, router 2. I have a switch 1. Better make it nicely. Switch 2, switch 3. This one, I cannot see it. Okay, never mind. Let me open one by one. Okay, first one, I'm going to rename my switch 1 first. Okay, sys name BI23. Your normal metric, you name it as your switch 1 so that you're not getting very confusing. Okay, sys So now I move to 6 switch 2. Okay. Then after that, I will going to open my switch 3. Sys name. Okay. Then open also my switch 4. Okay, then I will go into open my router 1. So 6 name router 1, and then I will going to open my router 2. Okay, now you are sorry. Undo router, it should be router 3. So undo 6 name. So name it again as a router 3. Okay, so now the first step we will going to do is up to you lah. You can just go to the router 3. Okay, so router 3 we will going to do is assign the IP address. Okay, you just going to assign the IP address for your router. Okay, you can look in on your configurations there. Okay, so you just going to enter the interface, okay, for the G001. So enter interface G001. Okay, sorry, enter G001. So you assign the IP address 10.1.0.1. Okay, /24. So recheck again whether the IP address is a 10.1.10.1 /24. Okay, so now you already done for your router 3 on here. So you go back to your router 1. Router 3 you're going to assign based on 10.1, 10.1. So go to your router 1 also. Okay, go to the interface G001. This one 001. So assign the IP address 10.1.2.1 /24. Okay, the rest we will going to move to our router, to our VLAN 3 on here. So we will going to move to our switch 3. Okay, make sure you are under your switch 3. Okay, on switch 3 here, okay, on your lab exercise, they asking you to using, okay, there is a few ways how you going to assign the IP address. But the first step, you need to understand whether your switch is supporting for the layer 3 switch. Can switch your interface because the switch, or the switch, that means your port, your interface, under your switch. Supposedly, they are not assigned the IP address because the IP address is under the router layer 3, right? So if let's say your switch, it can be converted into the layer 3 switch. That means layer 2 switch convert to a layer 3 switch. That means layer 3 actually got the IP address, right? Network layer. So basically you can undo the port switch like your lab exercise. But because on the series of the S3700, okay, using on this ENSP, they actually did not support the port switch. So what you need to do, we still able to do it, but you just need to assign the IP address to the VLAN. Instead, you're going to change this switch to be a layer 3 switch. Okay, so we were going to do it step by step. Okay, so the first thing you have to ensure is that you go into create the VLAN on here. Okay, so you move to your here switch 3. Okay, make sure you're under the switch 3. So you're going to create your VLAN 3. Okay, now you already create your VLAN 3. Bind your interface to the VLAN 3. Okay, you're going to bind VLAN 3, enters your interface. So which interface is your G001? Add on your G001 into the VLAN. So after you land the VLAN, set the port link types. Okay, it should be the access. Okay, then you are going to set the port, the default VLAN, VLAN 3 lah. Okay, so this one you are going to okay, you are going to port default VLAN 3. Okay, so waiting their status to be up again. So after that, you are going to enter your interface VLAN 3, enter your interface VLAN 3, then assign your IP address. Make sure you are under the interface 3, VLAN 3, assign your IP address 10.1.3.1, subnet mask 24. Okay, so the same things you are going to do under your switch 4. Okay, go to your switch 4. The same things you have to create the VLAN first before you do the configurations. Okay, after that, add your interface. This one also still the G001. Add your interface into your VLAN G001. Then make sure you check the port link type. Okay, configure as a access. Then tell them what actually is your PVID. So you have to port default VLAN. It's a 3. Okay, so make them is a up conditions. Then you can go into proceed. Okay, so after it up, go to your VLAN 3 interface. Okay, VLAN 3 interface, then going to assign your IP address is a 10.1.3.2.24. Okay, because actually now after you done for this one, actually you can try to ping this switch 3 and switch 4 already. Because on here, we did not going to create to set any to set any bopping yet. Okay, so basically they are able to reach up lah. You can try to quit and then you try to ping a 10.1.3.1/24. Okay. Pin A 10.1.3.1, go to pin A, this one is point 2, pin to the point switch 3. So you should able to get the deploy because now they are you still not doing any configurations on the upper switch layer 3 there. So we just assume now they are successfully both devices. They are belong to the same VLAN 3 and also the subnet. So they actually should be able to communicate, or you can go into print from switch 3 also. Okay, so now you already done for the lower layer. Okay, or each part. Okay, the next step you will going to move to a more complicated on your switch 1 and also your switch 2 on here lah. Okay, so you go to your switch 1, you have a 3 interface. So you need to do G001 as a access and belong to the PVID. Okay, PVID ports there. Okay, so you can go to your S switch 1. Okay, enter your interface. Interface G001. Switch 1, make sure you move to the switch 1, G001. Okay, after you go into your switch 1, G001, okay, then what you need to do, remember you will going to make them as a access port. So you just going to type port link types access port. Okay, after that, you need to tell them what actually is your PVID. So link type is using a default. Port default VLAN is belong to 2. Okay, so you can make sure it's a same one lah. port default. Okay. This one I forgot to create the VLAN 2 on here. So make sure you create the VLAN 2 for your switch 1. Okay, but actually the switch 1 we were going to allow 2, 3 and 10 to be passed by. So you can direct going to create the VLAN batch lah. VLAN batch 2 to 3 and then you're going to include the VLAN 10s because you want to allow these 3 message to be passed by on this switch. So you're just going to make it. Okay, so done already. You go back to just now the interface G001. Okay, then you go into assign a port default VLAN 2. Okay, now we already assigned the G001 as an access port and then PVID is 2. So now do the same things, go to the interface G002. So on here you are going to make them as a VLAN 3. So go to interface G002. Okay, port link types. Access. Okay, the same thing, port defaults. VLAN, you make it as a 3 because this port is linked to a 3. So your PVID is a 3. So enter. So the next one, quit again, go to your interface G003. Okay, under your G003, you should go into make them as a trump port. Okay, trump port. So I will going to make it port link type is a trump port. Okay, so under the trump port, we will going to make the this one they did not ask you to assign the PBID, so you no need to do it. You just going to port, okay, trump port. You were going to allow pass only the VLAN 2 and 3. Because on here you only allow 2 and 3 to pass, but you did not allow the 10 to be passed by. Okay, so you were going to allow 2, 3. I think this one is your switch 1 is 2, 3, 10. If I'm not mistaken, let me recheck again. Should allow 10 to pass by or not? Okay, you should allow the 10 also. So we were going to make it allowed to pass is from 2 to 3 and then also the VLAN 10s. Okay, under your switch 1. Enter. So remember by default, it will going to allow the VLAN 1 to pass by. And all the part by default, it will assign to VLAN 1 to ensure that your router 1 cannot communicate with the router 3 on the VLAN 10. So we need to undo the VLAN, allow pass VLAN 1, disallow the VLAN 1 to pass it. So just go to your G00, undo port trunk, allowed pass VLAN 1. We don't allow VLAN 1 to pass through. Okay, so now you can go into quick, okay, return to your interface and respond to your current configurations. Okay, you can go into check together with me. Make sure you name it as a switch 1. So your VLAN batch, you will going to create 3 VLAN under this switch 1, VLAN 2, VLAN 3, and also 3 VLAN 10s. Okay, then you're going to enter the space. Okay, under your G001. So you make them as a access and VLAN 2. Correct, right? Okay, under your G002, you make it as a access port and then connected to the VLAN 3. Also correct. Then you are going to see on your G003 on here, you make it as a trump port. So undo, that means you disallow the VLAN 1 to pass, but you allow 2 to 3 and 10 to pass by. Okay, now you're done already. You can go to your switch 2. Okay, switch 2 is on this side. Okay, where I should put. Okay, on this side. Okay, so the same things, enter your system view. Okay, don't like me just now, forgot to create the VLAN. So you were going to create the VLAN 2, 2, 3, and then another VLAN 10. 2, 3 lah, 2, 3, and 10. Sorry, I forgot to type the batch. 2, 2, 3, and then VLAN 10s. Okay, now you already cleared it. Okay, on this exercise, they want you to assign the VLAN, okay, using your MAC address. Okay, they already tell you what's the MAC address that you were going to use it. This one. Okay, on this step. Okay, you need to assign your S2 is a VLAN 10, and then VLAN 10 it will going to byte for this MAC address. Okay, so you are going to configure on it. So let me copy out. So this one is your VLAN 10. So they assumes your VLAN 10, you have a MAC address on there. Okay, just go to your configurations here again. Make sure you are under your switch 2. Okay, make sure you're under the switch 2. Enter your VLAN 10 and also going to assign your VLAN, MAC VLAN. So what is the MAC address that you want to add into this VLAN 10? So we were going to using A00 at 6FE104646. Okay, after you done already, because we assume that, okay, this MAC address, it will be connected under the G001. So we were going to make the G001 is a hybrid port, and then it belong to a VLAN. So that means we were going to make it, because it's connected to your end devices, they mention is simulated as a PC, right? So we consider they are connected as a end houses. So it will behave like the access. Then you need to untag your VLAN 10. Okay, so now you quit your VLAN 10s. Okay, enter your G001. G001. Okay, and then you're going to tell them the port link types you want to make it is a hybrid. Port hybrid. So here you are going to untag. Okay, your VLAN 10. Untag your VLAN 10. Okay, MAC also, it's a VLAN, MAC VLAN enable under this port. Okay, so the next one, the same things, we were going to your GE002 on here. Okay, on here, GE002. On here, maybe we're going to make it, because it's connected to another switch. So maybe on this part, we're going to make it as a access port. Let me recheck again. Okay, so G00 under your switch 2. No, we're going to make it as a access port. Okay, so now under your G001 credit, go to the interface under your switch 2 G002. So we're going to make it port link types access. Okay, still remain access port. So you are going to port default VLAN. Okay, you are going to make it port default VLAN. You will make it as a VLAN this one is VLAN 3. G00 PVID is 3, so you have to port default VLAN 3. Okay, last one we were going to do the G003. So create interface G003. Okay, so the same things we were going to make it as a port link types is your trunk. Okay, so on here we don't set any ID. Okay, but you have to tell them what actually is the VLAN text you allowed them to pass. So port trunk allowed pass VLAN 10 bukan 2 to 3 and then also VLAN 10. Okay, so remember to undo your port trunk. Allowed pass VLAN 1. So you do one by default, everyone can pass by. Okay. So I think we already done all the configurations there. So what you need to do, okay, you can go into display your configurations for your switch tree. Quit display your configurations for your switch tree. So you should name your switch, switch 2. Then you're going to create the VLAN batch 2, 3, and 10s. Okay, and then you assign, okay, them to be a VLAN 10s. You byte with this MAC address. You create you create the MAC address base VLANs. Okay, and then you add it into the VLAN 10s. Then you put on the space again. Under your G003, you make it as a trunk port, allow, undo. Okay, you disallow the VLAN 1 to pass by, but you allow 2, 3, and 10 to pass by. And then also you have your G001. Okay, it's a hybrid. Untag your VLAN 10 because you are connected to the VLAN 10 on here. Then enable it. And then also you were going to connect on here is a access port for your G002. Okay, make sure you check the configurations. Okay, then if after you done already, you quit it. Okay, you can try again under your switch 3 and 4. You can try to ping. Okay, you should able to ping from the 10.1. Example, now I'm under the switch 3. 10.1, 3.1. I'm going to reach up 10.1.3.2. Okay, so it should be getting the reply. That means your configuration is correctly on this both switch line because you are allowed them to pass by. Okay, you allow 2 and 3 to pass by. Okay, but in case you're going to print the router 1 and router 3, okay, router 1 and router 10, because they are belong to a different VLAN. Okay, so they should not be able to communicate with each other. So you can try to ping A, okay, 10.1.2.1, okay, to reach out the another router 3 is a 10.1.10.1.10.1. Okay, so you're trying to print, it should not able to reach up. If reach up, that means you're doing the configurations wrongly. Same, you can go into ping from your router 3 to your router 1. Okay, so that's all for our configurations for this lab exercise. Is quite straightforward. Just maybe if you follow the lab, you don't understand what actually you want to do, so you might be getting confusing there lah. Okay, the same things are another one. You can go to each of the switch. Okay, example, I can go to the switch 1 to do the verifications also. Okay, I can let the quit. Okay, I display VLAN. Okay, make sure display VLAN, you're going to enter the system view. So you were going to check this VLAN, make sure on the VLAN 2, you have a untag, okay, for your interface G001. Okay, you should untag, but you have a text for your G003 under your VLAN 3. Okay, that means you allow them to pass, but because it's a trunk port, so it should be a tag. The same things for your VLAN 3 on here lah. Okay, belong to your switch 1 belong to the VLAN 3. Untag G002, so tag is a G00. 3 there. Okay, so this is the example, and also the common 10 one, because you are not connected directly, so it should be a tap flame. Okay, so this one you can go in to check each of the configurations. Okay, example on your switch tool. So you display VLAN also. So the same things lah, because the switch tool you are not connected to the VLAN tool, right? You go through a switch one, so you should only have a tap flame, not untapped. Okay, for the VLAN tree, you are directed connected under the G002, so it should be a untapped flame. Okay, but this one is your tap flame from the G003 is your thumb prop. So for your VLAN 10, it will be untapped. Okay, for your G001 settings, and then it will go into check for your G003 there. Okay, so you can go into check for others interface lah. So that's all for our lab 5, and see you again on our lab 6. So we will going to focus on the Ethernet switching also, more on the STP, and also we were going to do, if got time, we were going to try for the inter VLANs. So that's all. Bye bye. See you on lab 6.